Hey everybody, Gary with Basecamp Trading. Let's take a look at how we were trading the rips in gold today. Gold just ripped to the downside a couple different times today. First thing this morning, you can see in the overnight gold, neutral to maybe even slightly bullish in the overnight. And then you put in this really bearish bar. Again, this was in the middle of the night. Put in a bearish bar though. Topping tail, whole body of the bar was selling. Opened at the top, closed at the bottom, and then kind of went into consolidation. So you had this push down, set up the bear flag right here as we were coming into the U.S. session. Not really interested in this bear flag for two reasons. One, this bar was actually a pretty bullish bar. In fact, right here you had left a bottoming tail. The top of the bar, that's a bullish hammer. Top of the bar was still selling, but it was a fairly bullish bar. It was a hammer, left the bottoming tail. Then this bar opened at the bottom and pushed all the way up, left a little topping tail, but closed up here at the top. So another fairly bullish bar. Set up the bear flag. Again, not interested. This was a fairly bullish bar. And on top of that, we had news that was going to release at 7:30. This was your 6:30 to 7 o'clock bar. This was your 7 to 7:30 bar. We had our news release. This bar pushed down, opened at the top, closed at the bottom. This was a really bearish bar, caused in the 5 and the 13 to cross to the downside. This bar triggers it, and gold makes a really strong rip to the downside. Now it was a fast rip. It ripped down and then right back up quick. In fact, on the way up, it came up so fast I left money on the table because I couldn't get my trade off quick enough. But it was a nice strong rip to the downside. Hit significantly undervalued, way deep into significantly undervalued right here on our value charts. We know when we hit significantly undervalued that we're going to do one of three things. We're going to consolidate, we're going to pull back, or we're potentially going to reverse. This particular case, we actually pulled back, kind of consolidated and pulled back. But we made this retracement, set up several bear flags that never triggered, had this doji right here. This could have been a reversal doji if it triggered back to the downside, continuation doji triggering to the upside. Actually, temporarily triggered to the upside. Went right up here into the 13 EMA, found resistance, and then left this really bearish bar right here. You had this really bearish topping tail. The body of this bar was all selling, and then it actually, right at the end, just before this bar closed, triggered this bear flag, made a little pullback right as it was closing, but it triggered this bear flag. Next bar pushed down, and gold was bombs away from here, just ripped to the downside from here. Hit significantly undervalued again. Once again, we know we hit significantly undervalued. We're going to consolidate, pull back, or reverse. In this particular case, just consolidated sideways pretty much the entire rest of the day. After this trade was done, really didn't do anything with gold anymore because we had hit significantly undervalued also on the 240-minute chart. And we know that when we hit significantly undervalued on the 240-minute chart, that we're done trading in that direction for the session. We know that the probabilities are not really that strong, that we're going to continue in that direction anyways, and so we are not looking to trade short anymore when we go into significantly undervalued. And you can see that on the 240 how big a deal this is. You can see right here we hit significantly undervalued, we went into consolidation. Right here we touched significantly undervalued, went into consolidation. Here we hit significantly undervalued and pulled back. Here significantly overvalued, went into consolidation. Here significantly overvalued, went into consolidation. Here touched significantly undervalued, pulled back. Hit significantly overvalued, going into consolidation, and that's just how it is on the 240. So when we get into significantly overvalued or undervalued on the 240s, we're done trading in that direction for the day. And then here's what our trades look like on our Unorenco chart, because our Unorenco chart is what we use to manage trades. We use Trend Pro 2.0, and we manage our trades off of the Unorenco chart. Now, this is where the doji was on here, set up the bear flag. That bear flag actually triggered right here, but again, we had news going on, so really weren't involved in any of this. But then the news event was over. We were bearish because we had triggered a 30-minute bear flag. It was off of a very bearish bar that had opened at the top, closed at the bottom. So we were definitely interested in a short trade. We just needed to wait for news to be over so that we could get into it and get a setup. Push down, we pull back to the 18 EMA, got our Trender Pro 2.0 entry signal right there, and then this is where gold just ripped to the downside. Got way extended on MQ Momentum Trender Pro 2.0. We know that when we get really extended, and especially extended that long, we're going to get out on the first reversal bar. Well, this reversed and ripped back the other way so quick, couldn't hardly get out. This would have been good for about 200 ticks and was only actually able to get 150 out of it. By the time I got closed and out of my position, I'd already left 50 ticks on the table. That's how fast that happened. I mean, it just ripped down and it ripped right back up. So it wasn't like we could even tell that this reversal bar was coming. We had no warning at all. It just ripped down and then right back up, and it ripped right back up fast. So out of the 200 ticks that would have been available there, I only was able to grab 150 of them. But that's okay. That's how it goes. No big deal. We hit significantly undervalued at that point. We know we're not looking to trade anymore to the downside because we know we're going to go into consolidation or get a pullback. And you can see that's what happened. We kind of consolidated and then started pulling back. We just kind of chopped and pulled back, chopped and pulled back, kept pulling back. And then we got our next bear flag. And that happened right in here. It actually triggered on this move down, but this is an Unorenco setup. We waited, we broke the cloud, made our pullback, got our wick out of the cloud with a fast line zero touch, and then down we went. MQ Momentum Trender Pro 2, or just Trender Pro 2.0. Neutral bearish, strong bearish into extended. We made the pullback. This moved down. Again, these are 4, 10, 20 Unorenco bars, so each one of these bars are 4 ticks. This initial move down was good for about $700 per contract, depending on how you traded it. There's actually more available there, but probably only grabbed about $700 out of that. We got our next setup, Trender Pro 2.0, giving us another Renko signal bar right here off the 18. Another push down, grabbed another $700 per contract out of this one. Again, a little more available, but nobody ever catches the exact bottom. At this point in time, we get another setup, but we're really not interested in this. We have no kind of a momentum reset. I mean, this is happening way down here. Momentum was already way down into oversold territory, and the slow line actually moving back to the upside right there. So we're not going to take a bearish trade when momentum is strengthening right there. But it did pull back, got back inside our lines right here, set up another wick off the 18, another nice push to the downside. Could have grabbed at least 500 ticks out of that, 500 or 50 ticks out of that, $500 per contract. Again, a little more available, but no one picks a bottom. Pulled back again. Got a really nice momentum reset this time. Fast line zero touch. You can see the magenta line is indicating a fast line zero touch. another strong push to the downside. And I mean, everything's just bearish. The 240 chart is bearish. The 30-minute chart is bearish. Trend dots are bearish. Smooth 50s heading down. Clouds heading down. 50 SMA. The 34 is under the S50. 18 under the 34. I mean, everything's just bearish. We're heading south. Gold's just ripping to the downside. And you can see this is actually happening pretty quick. I mean, this all started at 10:50, well, about 10:50 Central Time. And, this is only, 15 minutes later. And we're still just ripping to the downside here. Get our wick off the 34. Fast line zero touch. Pushes down. Got another $900 available on this trade because this isn't going to take you out right here. We pulled down. We're not significantly undervalued on 30-minute chart yet. Got a couple bar pullback. Got the trail stop failure. Push down. This time we're extended and significantly undervalued on the 30-minute chart, and we're out. So you had a potential to grab actually more than 900 ticks, but you're probably out or around 90 ticks or $900 per contract on this last run to the downside. So gold gave us some really, really nice rips to the downside with some really strong potential. Again, snatched 150 ticks off of that first trade and then had a potential to grab 700, 500, and 900 more dollars. So, and again, it's just depends on how you're trading it, what you're doing with it. That's just some of the potential that was available in the trade. And again, it just depends on, how you're trading it, what your stop loss strategies are, what your profit taking strategies are. But Trender Pro 2.0 had you in this trade. It had you in and out. These trail stop features had you in and out, but it definitely kept you heading in the right direction for some very nice potential profit, ripping gold to the downside today.